Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Mike Kollin at MikeKollin.com. Okay, this is going to be a rather short message. But before we get to that, I have an announcement to make. We are doing 2 trainings in September. So right now it's August 27th. So when you get this, I don't know, it could be tonight or tomorrow or a week later. So we are doing 2 trainings. You get a massive discount. This is for men's course, Cracked Female Code. It's a 6-day course. What I'm going to throw in is an extra day, okay? So if you come out here, you want to go to Sausalito, San Francisco, or Napa Valley, we can do that probably on this, because it's normally a 5-day course, but I want to give an extra day just in case. And that way on the 6th and 7th day, we can take a trip here and there. For men out there, you're going to save massively. Normally, one-on-one coaching for this course is $6,000. If you call me right now, I will give you a huge discount. You will never get this big of a discount. Now, this is for the group training, okay? So again, normally I charge that much for a 5-day training, okay? I'm throwing in a complete extra day. We're going to do 2 3.5 sessions, 4-hour sessions each day, and I'm going to throw in an extra day, so a second extra day just in case, and probably just to go around. So when we go out for dinner in the evenings, we may go to Sausalito. It's a 10-minute drive from here, so it's not a big deal. So we're going to get to see the sights as well. Ladies, if you want to do the Why Men Just Don't Get It course as a group, let me know. We can set that up right now out here in the Bay Area. This is the most beautiful time of the year. Your course is approximately 4 hours, so we can throw another session in for about 2.5 3 hours to teach rapport skills, the predicate system, deep love strategy, and maybe some other thing. And just as well, we can go out to dinner at Sausalito, San Francisco. You can go across the Golden Gate Bridge. So we can spend that day, probably an extra day if you like. We can go out and just see the sights. I do not have a date for that. If you're interested though, let me know and I will set that up immediately. Why? Because essentially it's a 4-hour course. I can add some stuff onto it, and we can do just that one section and then go out and see the sights, and then we can go out the next day maybe to Napa Valley. So call me, let me know, and we'll work it out. Men, you have to at least read my book, Cracked Female Code, before taking the course. It is a requirement. Go to my new website, MikeKollin.com, and buy my book, Cracked Female Code, and read it now. The other announcement is I have a new website. It is going to be male oriented because I believe the last website was kind of, it was so almost chaotic. It had everything from narcissist abuse to life coaching to emotional healing to men's Cracked Female Code to everything. And my sales have been down for quite a while, and so this is my new strategy to focus on men. But what I'm going to do is I am going to add a section for women to get you both your books, your one-on-one coaching, and then the Why Men Just Don't Get It course. So I'm building it right now. It looks great. I love the look. And let's see. I think that's it. The website is male oriented. I may make a separate website for the other stuff, but I have to get some money coming in the door right now. Another quick thought, if you guys know of a way I can get more traffic to my website, I would really appreciate it. I'm working on the SEO right now, actually with Sidekick. It's in Shopify's admin. It's a really good thing, so we're working on that, but probably external links and stuff like that. Alright, let's get right to this message. Alright, so I got my bike fixed. I had to buy some new forks for it. They're awesome forks. I'm really happy about it. So I finally went back to San Francisco. I've got a clip of the world's windiest road. And that's on Lombard Street. My bike locked up right there, so we can check. Okay, so I've got the volume on that turned down, so I'm going to just talk as we walk through this part of San Francisco. Okay, so I found something on Facebook, and it's a message I had posted on here probably a year ago. It's been quite a while. I've mentioned it at least twice, but I'm going to do it again. So there's a video. It says, "Man, this is the hardest mic drop I've ever recorded." Now, I actually didn't listen to the video, but there's a girl on the right, Sandro. I think that's a female's name. She said, "Wow, when he said when he said, you say, why doesn't God come down and show himself so we can believe? And I say that he already did and we killed him. That got me to the core. Because apparently that's what the guy said in the video. Because by not believing it, it's like we're killing him again. So here's the deal. I responded immediately and I said, no, you're missing the point. God never left us. Alright, so I'm going to go back to this one more time, because I think this is a different angle, different perspective, and I think you're finally going to understand something. God never left us. That's the whole point of the book of Genesis, when the serpent tricked Adam and Eve, and it made them feel ashamed for walking around being naked. And what happened was they got embarrassed, and what does that do? That narrows the artery. So shame, guilt, fear, doubt, confusion are all what we call states of fear in psychology, okay? So it narrows the artery, which means it turns off the fuel to your right brain, and thus you are disconnected from God.
That's awesome.
And that's why it said when God came in the garden, the cool of the day or the cool of the morning, etc., it said, and they hid. Okay, they meaning Adam and Eve. And then God called out, Adam, Eve, where art thou? And I can't remember if Adam stayed quiet that time or when God had to do it a second time. But eventually Adam says, we're hiding. And God goes, what did he, God, I forget. But essentially God goes, well, why are you hiding? And then Adam says, well, because we're naked. And now God's smart and God already knows what's going on. He goes, who told thee that ye are naked? In other words, someone had to tell them. So here's the point. The turning away from God, the hiding from God, is what we did. God didn't do that. And that is sin. Now, I don't mean like, oh, you're going to hell and you've done something wrong. No, it just means you disconnected from God. That's all it means. So when people now, like you cry out to God, you're like, God, where are you? Why won't you help me? And God's like right next to you going, yo, bro, I'm right here. Open up, wake up, like, bro, I'm right here. I've never left you. Isn't the scenery beautiful, by the way? I just think this, like, everything here in this area is beautiful. All right, so God's next to you saying, yo, I'm right here. Now here's what Jesus said, what he meant when he said the kingdom is at hand. Here's what he means. Open up to the right brain. Open up to consciousness. Now, meditation is how I discovered this. This is how I finally figured this out. I meditated every single day. Now, don't get me wrong. The first 2 months or 3 months, I was frustrated. I didn't get it. It didn't work. I'm sitting there for like an hour going, man, I'm not getting nothing here. But I started asking around because here's what it was. I kept reading in the Old Testament where God says, meditate. Meditate upon these words, meditate on this verse, meditate upon these psalms, upon this, whatever. And I went to Pastor Rex and I marked out all these different areas, and it was more than a few where God said to meditate. I'm like, well, that's God, right? He goes, yeah. I go, well, God's telling us to meditate. He goes, yeah. I go, so why do all the Christian people in the church say that that's evil and that's wrong and it's against God? He goes, Michael, I have told you, don't listen to them. Alright, here's the deal. All these internal awareness techniques that I use, that I teach, the emotional grounding techniques, and the meditation, all of a sudden I started having awarenesses that I never had before. All of a sudden I understood things in a much more key word here, open way. All of a sudden you just know what to do. You don't even know why. And sometimes you just understand things and you don't even know why. And so it's essentially allowing your system to integrate and allow all the pieces to come together so you can see the bigger picture. So, okay. What I'm really saying here is when you learn how to open back up, God's right there. That's all I'm saying. You need to meditate. You need to meditate daily. Put time aside to meditate for 45 minutes to an hour a day. Now, in the beginning, I didn't get it, blah, blah, blah. And I actually went to a meditation center in Berkeley, and they said, oh, read our book. And there wasn't one technique on how to meditate. Then I went to another place. Oh, buy this book. There wasn't one technique. And I had searched around for a little bit, I would say a month or 2 months, and I was like, I was in college and I was at lunch with this kid who happened to be Asian. I was like, I don't get it. I don't know how to meditate. And I read these books. They don't say one thing. They just talk about their religion and their, I don't know, like what they're about and all this other stuff. And if you pay us, I think it was expensive. I think it was like $2,000 or $10,000 or whatever it was. Then they'll give us this word, and then you can meditate on the word. And not one mention of reading this whole book said a damn thing about meditation. And then I read another book that this other group said, oh, read this book, and it didn't say nothing. And so I'm telling this kid this, and he goes, you know, Mike, my mom told me if somebody wants to meditate, you already know how. You just have to make yourself do it. Now, when he said that, something clicked in my brain, and I got determined. And I remember going home after school, I'm going to meditate. And, you know, I sat in the lotus position with my hands. There's this position I put him in. And I just kept doing it it's like, I was like, I'm going to figure out what this is somehow, some way. So then I started doing my deep breathing techniques I learned from Hawaii. Then I would stretch for 20 minutes, and then it was 30 minutes. And then I would take a hot salt bath with sea salt and lavender oil, etc., and you know that would help me loosen up. Then I would stretch for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and then I would do my deep breathing technique for about 20 plus minutes, and then boom, I was in the zone. And then what happened was I found clarity of mind, absolute silence. Now that was a really, really wonderful space. So here's what would happen. About every minute or 5 minutes, a thought would come up in my forehead. My ego would get caught up in the story of the thought. And I'm like, oh, there it is. And I would catch it. And then I'd bring my awareness back. And it's like I had an open awareness of the story versus being caught up in the story with my forehead. So then what I did is I allowed the story. See, if you try to stop the story, you're adding energy to it, and it makes it more intense, and it catches you up in it. What you do is you allow the story to unravel on its own, and it literally, once you let it go, it kind of floats away. It's like you just allow it to have its own space, and you're aware of yourself and the space around this thought or thing that's making you think, and all of a sudden it just kind of fades away, and boom, now you have silence again. Complete, total silence. Then another thought will have been, and it's almost like it's coming up from your gut or from like out in front of you a little bit, kind of comes up, and then you kind of whoop, you get caught into it. Sometimes though, you catch it coming up and you watch it, and you allow it to have its own space and do its own thing. See, the thing is, you do not want to try to stop it. Don't do that. Don't touch it. Don't push, pull. Leave it alone. All you need to do is have an awareness of your body and awareness of this story or thought coming up. And the more you do this, the better you get at it, the sooner it disappears. Eventually, you get into this absolute zone of nothingness. From there, that's where you can manifest. That's the greatest place to manifest. Welcome to the Garden of Eden. From this space, you begin to create your world, your universe, your life. You begin to have this, I almost hate to use this word, but you begin to have this keen awareness of something else. It's a power. It's a force. It's a feeling. Luke used the force. When you begin to get to this space, you begin to have a sense or a conscious awareness of what, I don't know how to say this in the right way, like in the way that, I'm going to attempt to, it's like in a way that the God, like it's like, you know, back in the book of Genesis, like, you know, they were in the present moment with God. This is what this is. This is the Garden of Eden, literally. The kingdom of God is at hand. So the more you develop this, eventually there were some techniques that I heard at the temple called walking meditation techniques, and I didn't really know what they were, and yet the funny thing is I was actually developing them, learning them from the monks and from an energy healer and from my training in Hawaii. There was a bunch of series of techniques that I now call internal awareness techniques. They all call them separately different things. And what this allows you to do is once you begin to develop that base of consciousness, or call it awareness, being like in the world or the kingdom of God, the kingdom of God is at hand, or being in the garden, is you can begin to carry this out into the world. And now, one of the things that happened to me was I remember the first few times I really got to this space, I was like, whoa, I had to meditate for like 2 hours one day. And I remember I went to the grocery store right around the corner, and I was walking around, and I purposely did this because I wanted to see what the world was like around other people when I'm like this. And I was like, it is mind-blowing. It is like you're very aware, and other people are like robots, just rambling off. Literally, they're not even home. And I don't mean like one or two people. I mean like 99% of the people walking around. So then about 45 minutes or more, I started to notice it was fading away. So I'm like, no, because the first time I got there, I'm like, oh, I'm here. Finally, the anxiety's gone. Finally, I've got peace. I'm not stressed. And like, okay, cool. Life is awesome. But then after about 45 minutes, it would fade away. I remember I went right back home, like, I'm going to get it back. And I did. And then I went out, and then about an hour later, it faded away. So here's what I noticed. For every 2 hours, or whatever length, it was about 45 to 50% of the time I could stay in that conscious space, but then it would go back into the ego. And then I would meditate for 2 hours, then 2.5, then 3. And this is what got me suddenly to meditate for like 14, 15, 16 hours a day on the weekends, is because I loved being in that space so much. It was miraculous. So if I meditated for 4 hours, I'd be in this space for 2 hours out around other people, and so on. 8 hours, 4 hours, etc. And from being in this space for such a long time, for so many years, this is where I learned all the stuff that I teach in my courses. Now, I've learned a lot of stuff from other people too, but this space is where you begin to know what you learn verbally. Like it's one thing to logically understand things. It's another thing to have a, I'm going to say it, but it's really more than this, a visceral, physical experience of it. It's one thing, okay, it's one thing to say consciousness. It's another thing to be in it. That's all I'm going to say for now on this subject. I just want to throw that out to you. What I'm trying to say is God is with you. I really mean that. I'm not just being Mr. Rah Rah. I really mean God is with you at a moment's notice. Become aware of Him. And yes, of course, if you want to learn these techniques that I teach, obviously you can do it with me one-on-one coaching. We can do it through the phone, in person. And if you're interested in flying out to California or flying me out there to do a training with a group of people, I can do that too. Just let me know and we'll set it up. So come learn how to reconnect to God and your power by reconnecting to you, yourself. Alright, that's it, guys. That's it. If you want to support this channel right now, I'd really appreciate it. There's a PayPal link if you want to make a donation, if you can make a donation, or buy one of my dating relationship books or packages. That would really, really help. And guys, remember the one-on-one coaching for Crack the Female Code is open for individuals and groups, and it's happening right now. Go to MikeKollin.com, buy my book, Crack the Female Code. It is a requirement for the course. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.